Hey guys, Jock from the future here. I just wanted to let you guys know that every alpha and every stamp, every tiling texture that you see in the tutorial, they are available in my Gumroad, link down in the description. So if you want to, try these out, make some yourself, make your own projects, your own kind of like sci-fi, fashion, cyberpunk material, clothing, tattoos, robots, really whatever it is that you can think of, um, go get them. And I hope you have some fun. And I hope you guys enjoy this tutorial. Make sure to leave me some feedback. Let me know if there's anything you guys would like to see. If there's anything you guys want questions on, and especially if you end up making things using what you learned in this tutorial, do send it to me. Like, let me see. Send me a link to your project. Message me. I really want to see what you guys make. So, take care, guys. Enjoy the tutorial. First thing you probably need to know about this working method is that it's very reliant on, well, first of all, having UVs, but also where you place them. So let me go into the UV editor and let's copy the UVs and flatten them. So remember that ZBrush has textures upside down compared to other programs. So in Unreal, this is up, this is down. Just kind of remember that as we're going through. But so I mentioned how in order to get effects like this, I have the emissive panning across the UV space, right? So if you imagine that this is the UV space, right? This emissive is going from the bottom to the top. And this texture, this UV shell is going, which is, it's one of these. So actually, well, they're both facing from bottom to top. Once again, everything's upside down in ZBrush. And so that's why when it goes through that those UV shells, it goes in that direction. If they were facing, say, left to right or right to left, the panning would go accordingly. Now, of course, you can pan from within Unreal. You can pan. Where's one of the panners? There we go. You can pan, on the X or Y axis if you want to. So, and by doing combinations on X and Y axis, you can actually do diagonals. So, I mentioned earlier how this working method is very modular, and one of its biggest sort of power source is that modularity, is the fact that it's a bunch of small components that you can edit in various ways to get a very, very large result. And one of the things that you can do is you can edit the UVs, and you can edit the UVs so that things sync up, so that things share a pattern, so that they share a movement. You can have it so that while one thing is horizontal, the other thing is vertical, or horizontal, or however, whatever combinations you can think of, you can do. And if you're familiar with all the components that go into making this, your ability to edit, I mean, I'm not gonna say it's limitless, because infinity is not a real number. It's not. I'm not gonna get into it right now, but it's not, and it's this really frustrating concept that, sorry, I'm not gonna get into why I hate infinity, but anyways, so you just have a lot of iterations. You have a lot of variations. You have a lot of variations that you can do with this, and the possibilities they're very wide, I think. But anyways, so let me unflatten this. I actually don't need it. I could have left it, but it's all good. So let me make my background something a little lighter. There we go. So you can recognize this Polypaint. This is the source for the alphas for the flanks. So what I'm going to do, because I already exported this, actually, what you're looking at is the texture, not the alpha. So let me just turn that off real quick. Let me turn it off. And then switch color to black. And switch my brush to be mRGB, intensity to 100. Turn off add because we don't want to, brutalize this mesh. We just want to paint on it. So fill object. And I have a mask on this. Okay, let's fill object again just to make sure that there aren't any like stragglers. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to make a couple of let me just turn on Polypaint so I can see the shells. So the reason why this is useful is so that you know that so each of these shells, right, like because they're separate and they're on different places in the UVs, if you have something like a pattern that goes here, right, like so let's say let me import a couple of alphas actually. So all right, so I've made a couple of alphas, just kind of like a pack. These are some of them. These are the ones that I've already kind of just like used a little bit for things, and I know that they work and I know that they're cool. There's gonna be a few more that I'm adding to the pack. Yeah, you've seen this one before. You've seen this one before. You've seen one of these. I forget which one I used. This one. But I'm going to be adding a few more to the pack and then putting it putting it up on Gumroad. So let me just take a few of these. Use this one. I'm gonna take this one just so I can show you something. I want one of these for sure. I think I'll take this one. And I'll take this one just for fun. Okay. Alright, so now that you've imported a couple of alphas from the kit, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, first of all, I'm going to turn off symmetry. And let me place, oh, let's try it. Let's see what this one looks like first. Oh, forgot to switch color to white. And let's put this here. So let's see. Kind of like it. Has a bit of a misfits vibe to it. I like it. Oh, we forgot to turn on backface masking. Oh, sorry. Switch fill object. So switch color again. It's getting to be almost by bedtime, so I think my brain might be shutting off. But I think we can power through this, guys. Just gonna sneak some coffee in between takes. Alright, so yeah, so turning on backface masking allows you to only be drawing on one side. Really useful because I don't, whatever happened with that weird project, I didn't want that. I didn't want that at all. So let's see. I actually really want to use, let me turn this on. I actually really want to use this one. Oopsie. Let's put it a little bit lower. Hmm. Kind of want to add a little something to it. Let's see. What were the other things I imported? Um, let's rotate this alpha. Um, which direction does it go in? Okay, so it is in the wrong direction. So alpha mirror in this direction. And then let's turn on symmetry again. And maybe something. So actually make sure I'm not stepping out of. Oh no, I'm fine. Oh wow, I thought I was much closer to the UV barrier for whatever reason. Let's see. You know what? Just to be on the safe side, I'm going to isolate this and I'm gonna mask it so that I don't have to worry at all about going out of the boundary. This is pretty cool. Let's try. No. So I think the bit on the waist is cool. Except I'm thinking, would I want maybe two emissives going this way? I think I do. You know what? I think I do. And you know what? If I don't, we'll find out soon enough, and I'll just delete it. No problems there. So what I'm going to do is I have already a couple too many of these, so I'm gonna go here, and I'm just gonna append the one I'm working on. Just give it time to load. There we go. Let me delete this. Okay. So, hello. Yeah, there we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate. So I have the pattern I want, all right? But I want these two to be separate alphas. So what I'm going to do is on one version, I'm going to grab my trusty mask, and I'm going to mask out these parts. Flip. Fill color. Oh, sorry. Wait, what? Oh, I had the yield mask on. Okay. So I'm going to mask these. I'm going to flip the mask. Switch color. Fill color. There we go. Alright. Now, I'm going to go into textures. Texture map. Just to be on the safe side, check to make sure that your UV size is a usable size. So 2K is good. I think 2K is what I've been using so far. You can set it to 4K if you want to. Whatever. I want this to look good, so. The reason why I wouldn't necessarily recommend this is because if you're a concept, so certain things you can use just high resolution for, and then doing optimization, we can kind of figure that out. But for this particular way of working, I kind of like to keep things a bit more reasonable. The alphas are pretty high resolution, like some of these. But that's because of the alphas, and it's one of those things where it's like, if you draw a 4K, if you put a 4K image on a 2K screen, it looks a little bit worse. But if you put a 2K image on a 4K screen and you blow it up, now you have problems. You see what I mean? So the alphas can be very large, but the textures themselves, the textures you end up exporting, I would say keep them reasonable, because at the end of the day, if this goes into a game, for example, you want it to be reasonable. But let's say you're not working for a game, right? Let's say this is like Let's say you're working for a cyberpunk fashion company. Yes, that's what we'll go with. That's our justification for this 4K texture. Ha. Anyways, all right. So now you have your UV set to 4K. Let's take the texture map and let's create a new from Polypaint. This might take a little bit actually. Never mind, we're good. So you clone your texture. Yes, that's fine. Take your time. Clone your texture. You go to texture, and you flip V because things are upside down in ZBrush, and then you go and you export out this bad boy, just not to your brush set. You export out to a different folder. So I like to use PNGs, and let's call this the mummy skull alpha. Bloop, bloop. Okay. So now we're going to go to the other one. Now you could just hit Command Z a bunch of times and then do this process again. I kind of like having backups, and so like I don't mind. See, here's the thing. Personally, and this is probably personal preference. I don't mind filling up several terabytes of redundancies. And I don't mind wait, which oop. um and yeah, and I just don't mind sorry. Sometimes it does that when you say fill color. Um what was I saying? Yeah, like I don't yeah, so I don't mind having layers of redundancy. You know, like what if there was a crash and you hadn't saved out this file, or a lot of things could have happened. So I kind of just like just having them. It's a really easy way to go back. Like you saw, I had just like all of the previous ones. I had like 8 just lined up there. And yeah, it slows down your computer a little bit, but compared to the security of just having you know the security of just having everything there, I'm like, I like it. I think it's okay. But oh shoot. But yeah. I mean, it's just preference. It's really what I'm saying is that it comes down to preference. Um, Texture, flip, export, and no. I want PNG and waste bands. So it just kind of comes down to your own personal preferences. Oh wait, there's one more that I want to do, and it's a tool. Okay. I love how as I say it, like it just like super slowed down my computer. Why is it not filling the object? Oh, because the texture is on. But okay, there we go. So I want to show you something using this one. Am I? Okay, I always feel like I'm going like past the initial barrier. We're having some minor resolution problems here. It shouldn't be that bad. Whoopsie. Specifically due to what I plan to do with it, but I want this to be a little bit more centered. Alright. I don't want to make more Polypaint resolution currently. Um, I don't think that would necessarily. I don't really think that would pay off currently. I think this will be fine. Fun texture. Display up. Texture. Flip Y. Um, Pulse. Okay. So let's go into Unreal and let's import our new toys. Let's put on some theme music. Okay. Now at this point, I've decided to time lapse a segment of me kind of just building out some of these other two jacket variations. Um, there was no real commentary while I was making this. I sort of just went silent and started just working. Um, and it was, I think, something like an hour or so. And I just felt like it was a little too long. So I'm just going to explain what's going on here. So I made the new alphas, as you can see, and I'm plugging them into replacing the old Jackal logo. I'm adding in, I think at one point I do add in the waistbands. But what I'm doing is that I'm kind of just adjusting. The skull for some reason looked a little too pale, so I used a color dodge layer to. Sorry, the skull wasn't intense enough, so I used the color dodge layer to kind of just like increase the power of the white mask area so that it would show up much more strongly. You see me kind of changing up the colors in the LARP layer. Um, and yeah, this is pretty much what the next I think now it's about 20 minutes in the recording. I think this is what the next 20 minutes will be. It's me trying out different things and kind of mismatching, adjusting numbers, just to sort of show you all the variety you can get out of this. I'm bringing in some different textures from the kit. I think at this point I want a different jacket style. Yeah, so I bring in just like a regular plain hexagon tile. You know, sometimes simple is better, especially when it comes to things like apparel. You know, like we already have a super complicated emissive, we have movement, we have a lot of things going on, and sometimes it's just better to bring in something simple. You know, so now that jacket pattern is a lot more simple. I'm still editing it. What am I doing here? I think. Okay, so now I'm editing the metallicity and specular, or at least I was. Now I think I'm just trying out different textures. Yeah, so I'm just trying out different textures from the pack to see what works. So because they're all tiling textures, I think there's like a dozen of them or so. I sort of tried out the ones that I think would look good. So now you can see me trying to do that little pulse symbol, that heart rate monitor symbol. And for this one, I need a vertical emissive that moves vertically. So you can see me kind of working on it there. Adjusting my material colors using the LARP layers and vector 3s. Kind of playing around with roughness and specular a little bit. Kind of just looking for like the look. Um, I remember for this one, I was sort of torn between making it look like a members only gangster jacket that like the gang was like medical themed or something, and making it just like a legitimate like medical officer's jacket. And I ended up somewhere in the middle at the end of it. But I really wanted to kind of just like show you guys just like another layer of variety. Um, so by having that alpha, be something that the pattern laterally is just as important now as the lateral emissive. See, like that emissive with the fade um, sort of plays in with that pattern, and it gives like a much cooler effect than any one of those would do individually. Like you could just have that symbol on the back of a jacket, or you could just have a green bar going through, someone's back. But when you have the two together, it gives you something that's a lot more powerful and a lot more compelling. And yeah, so I just really wanted to have you guys. Sorry, little audio cut there, but I just really wanted to have you guys see that in action. And yeah, so you can see me sort of just trying out, just more colors, more variation. So now I'm trying to, instead of having black and red, I have red and white or gray. I think at one point I used gray. I think this is still when it was white. Yeah, and you can see me just like trying out different colors. Um, Here I'm trying to see how would this look in yellow. Um, and the answer is not that great, at least in a well lit environment. It looks better in something slightly dark, but when does an emissive not look better in the dark, right? Um, so yeah, so I'm just kind of trying. I'm trying to find combinations. I remember not being happy with the end result I got here. Um, I think if I were to do this again, I would probably just have like a totally separate collection of patterns, like maybe just like a simple white jacket with maybe like red cuffs or something, like red or blue cuffs, and then just have that logo on the back on its own. I think that logo itself is so powerful. It's like the heart rate monitor, like it's iconic. Um, I think trying to sort of match it with these, like these noisy patterns in the background, I don't think that was really the best call. But hindsight is 2020, and it was certainly a fun experiment to kind of see this evolve. And yeah, I think there's some things to learn from here. Maybe you guys will see things that will inspire you to make things of your own. Um, Here I think, yeah, I think I just went and tried out patterns for a really long time with this one. I was really kind of struggling to find what could be like just a good background noise for that emissive logo in the back. Yeah, it looks a lot better when it's plain, definitely. I think the second I added any sort of pattern in the background, I think it sort of lost its strength. So yeah, I think this sort of goes on for a little bit. I'm just gonna let it run and then see you guys later. So take care. So now you can see that I have um, a much more subtle, kind of just a quiet, gentle pattern in the background, and I think that works a lot better. And now I'm just kind of applying small little tweaks. I think now what I'm doing is that I am creating the waste emissives, which I end up not using. I end up using these patterns, but I end up not using the waste alpha that I had made earlier. But that's kind of part of the process. It's you make them. At this point, I must have like something like 20 different alpha masks that go on this jacket. Um, and some of them just won't be as appealing as others, but they were quick to make. All of them were pretty quick to make, and it really cost nothing to try. I really tried to make this one work. I really sort of just like kept pushing. Probably a bit more than I should have. I think at one point I was like I sort of knew like I it couldn't necessarily be safe, but I was just like, let me try experimenting anyway. So it goes online about here, I think. Um, I think I finished a couple of the links. Yeah, I think at this point, the fact that I haven't slept yet is starting to really kick in. And yeah, there we go. There we go. Jacques, you did it. Jacques from the past. Um, so yeah. So now I'm just like trying. I'm just trying a bunch of different frequencies. I'm trying to see if I can get some kind of a hospital. Oh, what are those? Ambulance. Yeah, there you go. I'm trying to see if I can get just like an ambulance pattern going. Rhythm and pattern going. Um, my sort of hindsight diagnosis of this is that they just weren't big enough. Like if they were larger patches or maybe more of them, um, it probably would have worked a lot better as sort of that ambulance feel. Yeah, like so the video is sped up, but like this frequency was starting to work, which is why I sort of like spent so much time just twirling it around. Um, but ultimately, I would say that I think as a sort of as an idea of having your jacket have like the ambulance lights going, I think that is cool. I think this particular execution would definitely need to be redone with maybe a different alpha. I do so because I am Jacques from the future. I know that there is another recording coming soon where I actually make this pattern work. So yeah, stick around for that one, I guess. Spoilers. Can you make a spoiler for educational material? Eh, whatever. Um, but yeah, so I'm just gonna let this run for a little while still. Um, I will check in if I feel there's anything I need to be commented on. If not, you know, just gonna keep going until I have more to say. Um, and yeah, yeah. All right. So so I went over a few variations, kind of just ideas. I'm not particularly happy with this one. I think I couldn't decide if I wanted it to be a legitimate medical officer or some kind of like heart attack gang, and kind of ended up in the middle. Um, but you know what happens. I kind of just mostly just wanted to show you guys just how much variety you can get from this. Um, let's see. I'm pretty into this one. Um, kind of just like this Egyptian pharaoh themed. Um, sorry. I was thinking about something else I could do to it. But yeah, so you know, I think I spent maybe like an hour and a half on these, and you know, it's pretty fun. It gets pretty thing. Like every time you do one, you kind of think like, I mean, like I resisted the urge to just go back into ZBrush and just draw out just a whole bunch of patterns to use this with. I wanted to try to stick to what I had already as much as possible, but you know, let's just do show environment. But yeah, you know, I can't wait to see what you guys do with this. I hope you guys find this useful. Like I said, the alpha pack will be available. Actually, it'll be available with the release of this tutorial. So you know, make sure to follow me to you know, see just more tech tips that I want to share. I especially want to share stuff that I've used or I've seen and I thought they were interesting, but that I'm really interested in seeing other people use, like this thing. You know, I'm probably not gonna reuse it. I might make like one more project with it, just like a personal cyberpunk piece. So I might use it a few times out of the blue. But in case you couldn't tell by things like this, I don't use Unreal that much. I use it for concept every once in a while, just like in a blue moon. But you know, for the most part, like I think it's great. I think Unreal's really great, and I've seen amazing things done in Unreal, and I definitely want to learn more on Unreal and use it more. But as far as me, you know, as far as just like the things that I like to do, um, you know, I'm more of just like a key shot person. If there's anything that you guys would like me to make a tutorial on or a demonstration on, do let me know, and I'll try to make it happen. By the way, yes, this was a request. Yes, this was a request from someone.